Hi, and welcome to another episode of Hot Takes with me, the Silver Fox. Here is a tale of a vindictive, nasty, horrible woman, nationalist, someone who obviously hates Britain, hates Britain's past, and says that we shouldn't be celebrating some of the greatest acts of bravery this country has ever faced. She's saying, on one hand, and using the excuses, it's very antagonistic towards Germany. But that's not it, of course. Her biggest grievance is that Germany didn't win the Second World War, I suspect, because we all know the foundation of nationalism is based in National Socialism. And that is why these people are so anti-British and so anti-everything that is great. They are so jealous of the achievements of the United Kingdom because it wasn't Scotland's achievements. But if it were, and the SNP were in control of Scotland in the 30s and 40s, Britain would have been facing an invasion from the north, backed by the National Socialists in Germany, because that would have been the people they were supporting. They admired them. They set themselves up and based themselves on them. And this woman cannot get away from the fact that she is basically one of them, still is. I'm surprised she's not planning on invading Poland. But we'll take a look to see why she is just an awful, empty piece of human trash. Here goes. So, nationalist writer sparks fury with D-Day comment as she says the UK is trapped in the past. Hardly, we're one of the most innovative and forward-looking nations in the world. It's she, of course, who's looking backwards and into the past. She's the one bemoaning our history. If anyone is stuck in the past, it is this nasty piece of human filth. Ruth Wishart was blasted for claiming Britain, honouring those who fought in the Second World War, did not help our tricky relations with Germany. Do you know Britain and Germany have got brilliant relations? I lived in Germany for a long time. I never once had any issue with me being British. Never once. Indeed, my first ever love was when I was in Germany. Ironically, a Polish girl, but she taught me to speak German. And that's how it was. And this, of course, was pre the wall coming down. Her family got out and sort of over the wall, as it were, from Poland to West Germany at the time, as it was. So, you know, I got on very well with Germans. I knew a lot of Germans, to the point where I actually ended up thinking in German. It's a weird experience, that is. And you can understand as well why German humour has to be slapstick. The language is very, very hard to be funny in. Anyway, that is a separate video. A Scottish nationalist writer and broadcaster provoked outrage when she complained about commemorations of D-Day, claiming it didn't help tricky relations with Germany. Yeah, her problem with D-Day is that we won. You know, the fact is, when you see the likes of what went on during the invasion, it was young men being marched to their death. It was hell on earth. It was the biggest invasion in history, and a lot of people died. And to be fair, if you look at the Americans had the worst of it on Omaha. That was truly awful. That opening scene in Saving Private Ryan, door goes down, they're all dead. It's that. It really is. And it's and for her to make light of it and say that that is something that shouldn't be remembered goes to show what utter hate is filling up these nationalists. They cannot even accept the bravery of what these people did. And the fact that she's saying what she's saying in English is absolutely down to the fact that we must remember the lives given for that battle, for getting in and winning the Second World War. She is such a nasty arse. And I do hope, and I don't often say this to people, but I do hope that she dies alone. Because I don't think she can have any friends. A woman that filled with hate can't have friends. I mean, she's near the end of her life. And honestly, people like her just need to go. To sit there and say these things, you know, it's horrible. Ruth Wishart, who is obviously now, as we all know, a piece of filth, has said the events related to the World War II battle were guilty of jingoism. No, they weren't. And suggested that the UK was trapped in the past. No, she is. The invasion of Normandy by Allied forces in 1944 was one of the biggest operations of the war against the SNP. Sorry, the National Socialist. It's very hard to tell them apart. Codenamed Operation Neptune, it is commonly referred to as D-Day and remains the largest seaborne invasion of all time. Events are held on June the 6th each year to mark the anniversary and remember those who lost their lives. And it's getting sadder and smaller every year. It is. On Tuesday, 2 veterans spoke of their honour, having their names added to a memorial wall of all those who took part. But Miss Wishart was less impressed, taking to social media site X to post not to downplay the huge sacrifices made at the time, and then immediately downplay the huge sacrifices made at the time. She said, but how much more often are we going to replay D-Day? It can't really help our already tricky relations with Germany. We don't have tricky relations with Germany. If she doesn't understand that, then she's a very stupid woman. Oh, wait. She doubled down when one person pointed out that Germans are involved in the commemorations too, saying, I doubt they enjoy our jingoism. Well, we don't. It's not jingoistic. She said one person whose father was a POW during the war called her post despicable, adding, this year is probably the last year where there are some people still alive from that time. Wishart replied, true, but can we remain trapped in the past forever? Well, you seem to be, love. You seem to be trapped there. The post was widely condemned by social media users. Oh, she's been ratioed. And look at that. That is a face of sheer hate. The only great thing is that that cotton-headed old witch will soon be no longer with us. And as far as I'm concerned, the sooner she goes, the general level of nastiness in the world will fall away significantly. For her to speak of this in such a way, she's done nothing. She's contributed nothing to this country except bile, hate, division, and stoking up the worst of human, condition. What has she brought that's been positive in her entire life? Throw some words on a bit of paper. Well, screw you, Wishart, you sad bitch. One said, honouring their sacrifice doesn't mean we're trapped in the past. Have you even spoken to any Germans about how they feel about it? Do you know, I was in a pub, this is absolutely true story, and I was with a German friend, Anders, and Anders and me were standing at the bar and chatting away, and someone said, oh, blah, 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 during the war. And then I started sort of cross to him and said something about the war and that. And he said, why do you English always talk about the war? And to a man, about 6 of us along the bar, all at once, in unison, went, because we won it. He burst into laughter. I've never seen a German laugh as much as that. He was absolutely in stitches. He said, you fucking English, he goes. And he laughed. We weren't English. There was 2 Irishmen. There was 3 Irishmen. There was an Englishman. There was 3 Irishmen. A Scotsman. It just sounds like a joke, but there was, yeah. We Scotch bricklayer. And there was Mick the Welsh. There was only 1 Englishman there. 6 of us, 1 Englishman. And the German, but the all 5, half a dozen sat at the bar, but 5 of us all went because we won it at once. And he gurgled like a drain. He did. Yeah, it's there. Nobody cares. The Germans don't care. Modern Germany has spent 2 generations trying to forget the war, trying to reintegrate themselves into the human race after what they did during the war. The last thing they want is to cause any more division. Germans today do not care. They never even talk about the war. So it's a load of old bollocks what Ruth Wishart is saying. But then I suspect most of what she says is a load of old bollocks. One poster wrote, what a terrible tweet. Of course we have to remember the sacrifices others made. It's important also to educate young people about our history. Not all Germans were National Socialists, like SNP members. But it's like not all Scots support the SNP. In other words, not all Scots are National Socialists as well. Yeah, I mean, she's full of shit, and she's full of hate, and she's full of bile, and I don't care. Like I say, soon she won't be with us anymore. And that level of just anti-British, anti-historical, it's so disrespectful. It's disrespectful of those who fell, and for those who survived, having lived through the trauma of D-Day. And she can go, and put it bluntly, and I apologise in advance for my language, but she can quite literally go and fuck herself. I'm coming up. Ruth Wishart isn't the only one who feels like that. A lot of people in the SNP are like that. They really do feel we fought on the wrong side during the last war. And they can't help themselves. It's the hate that they've been brought up in. It's that mind melding. It's that brainwashing. They've been Stockholmed into thinking that everything Britain does is bad and everything Scotland does is great. But that's not true. And I've known many, many brave Scots when I time in the army. And they were proud to put the uniform on. And they definitely had no truck with the SNP. I don't know. I honestly don't know if I've ever met a Scot who's worn a uniform who's pro SNP. I don't think I know one. And there's quite a few of them, you know. Scots in uniform, that is, not SNP. So it goes to show. It goes to show where the real men are. The real men aren't in the SNP. They are all just turds, aren't they? Anyway, I shall done. Thank you very much for watching. Do please hit the subscribe button, ring the bell, leave a like, leave a comment, please share the video, and I will speak to you later. Bye.